Okay, so today's the third vlog. I haven't done it in over a week. I've been busy and tired. But today I wanted to actually talk about a specific subject. And that subject is Haters Back Off. A show on Netflix by Colleen Ballinger. About her character Miranda Sings, who I have loved for years, because it's such a unique character and a weird kind of comedy. And I don't know, most of her fans are teenage girls, but it's just so funny. It's so different, and she's so good at her character. Like, it's so developed, and her performance as that character is so complete. You almost can't even see her in it. It's weird. Anyway, the show on Netflix obviously is going to be very different than homemade YouTube videos. So I was really curious what that would be like. How that would change the character, because it's a different format. It has to be necessarily different. And I guess this isn't a review of the show. You should just watch the show and then rewatch it, because it's better more times than one. And it is kind of a crazy show, and it takes you places you wouldn't expect. But this is more of a review of the characters, because the only thing I don't fully like about the show is some of the characters' backstory and their personalities don't really make sense to me. But I don't know if that's because so much of the show was cut in post-production. If you watch interviews with the actors in the show, they'll tell you how much improv they did and how many other story arcs there were, but they just had to cut out so much because, it's 8 episodes. Each episode is already half an hour. If they left everything in, it would have been probably twice as many episodes. And I don't know. Sometimes I think the pacing of the show might suffer from it. But really, the show is about a family. There's Miranda, who's like, you just have to know who she is. I'm not going to describe her because it's almost impossible. Miranda, she lives with her mother and her uncle, which is what everyone knew going into the series, because on YouTube she mentions, they never show her mother or uncle, but she'd yell at them off screen and mention them. So we knew they were going to be in the series. But the surprise was her younger sister, Emily, not a character that anyone was aware of outside of the show. It was a total secret to everyone, a total surprise. And there's also Patrick, who's a neighborhood boy, and sort of Miranda's love interest, but more, she doesn't seem to be aware of his feelings for her. Anyway, Miranda, the character Miranda is Miranda, and it's perfect. And there's nothing to pick apart there. If you know Miranda and you like Miranda, she's Miranda in the show. They don't make any serious changes to who she is. There's not much to say about her. Emily is like a fan favorite already. She plays a straight man to everyone else's craziness in the show, which is like extremely necessary, because if everyone was crazy, the show would be a mess. You'd be unable to get into it as a viewer, because it's just a circus. When you go to the circus, you don't get involved. You spectate, and then you leave. But with a TV show, you have to feel for the characters and relate to them, stuff like that. So Emily's role was kind of a straight man. I've heard it said that all comedy is either a crazy person in a sane world or a sane person in a crazy world. And Emily is the sane person in a crazy family in a sane world. And she, like, balances everything in the family. She brings it all together. Because without her, there would just be crazy people that you have very little investment in. And she's a funny character because she's kind of a type, the nerdy, dark high schooler who wants to get out, who paints and reads Sartre and stuff like that. Very, the type of girl I would have had a crush on in high school. But her character's perfect. I don't think this show would have worked without a character like that. So I can't say anything negative about her. It's just perfect. And she has to be there. And there's a good reason that everyone loves Emily so much. Because she's like the conscience of the show and the heart of the show. And she's a really necessary component. After Emily, we have Bethany, who's Miranda's mother, and is completely crazy too, just less so than the others. She's crazy in the sense that she indulges Miranda, and that she has a delusion about being injured when she's not, for sympathy, I suppose. I guess like a Munchausen syndrome type of thing. Bethany is also a very complete character. I don't think there's anything about her that doesn't work. She's very you feel bad for her most of the time, even though she kind of plays a pitiable person. Like, you don't want to feel bad for someone who's going to fake injury for sympathy, but she's sympathetic anyway because of the way she's treated by Miranda and Uncle Jim, not appreciated by them. And it's weird because she just wants to fit in with them, but she doesn't, in a weird way. Like, Emily doesn't fit in with anyone, but it doesn't bother you as a viewer because it's clear that Emily doesn't really need to, and she likes to be alone and works better on her own. But Bethany clearly wants to be involved and appreciated. But the thing is, Miranda and her uncle often exclude her. And from watching this show, it seems like it's Uncle Jim's fault to me, because I don't know if you can really blame Miranda for anything. She's like a child that doesn't know any better in any case. But Uncle Jim clearly should know that if he's being selfish or excluding Bethany and trying to take sole control over Miranda, which is, you can see in the episode where they put on the production of Annie. He just completely dismisses her and overrides everything she wants to do and her involvement. I don't know the motivation. I guess it's to have sole creative control, and so Miranda will appreciate him and understand that he's the one that's helping make her famous. I don't know. So that's what I don't understand about the character of Uncle Jim, is his motivation for anything. What he wants and why. Like, I know Uncle Jim and Miranda and Bethany are all partaking in, like, this collective delusion where Miranda's the greatest thing ever and can do no wrong. And Miranda believes that because it's not her fault, she doesn't know any better. But why does Uncle Jim do this? It doesn't seem like he's trying to really protect her from the world. It seems like he wants her approval. And I don't know, still don't understand why he wants her approval. Is he just trying to ride her coattails when she does become famous? Does he really believe she will become famous? Because he seems to. He seems to be convinced that she deserves to be famous. So is he delusional too about what she is? I don't understand if he's doing it to coddle her, doing it because he loves her, doing it because he's just a crazy character that there's no explanation for his behavior, because I couldn't really understand what his motivation is. And at times, he's just really mean. And if a character is mean without justification, the audience will turn on them generally. And I don't think you're supposed to turn on any of the characters in the show. You're supposed to love them all. But I found it hardest with Uncle Jim, because I don't understand what he wants and what he's doing. And he was really mean, especially, I mean, if you're mean to Emily, it's not that mean because she doesn't really care. But Bethany clearly does. So it's just too mean at times. And there's no real retribution for it or justification for it. It just gets worse and worse throughout the show until the end, which culminates in this crazy, serious moment that is just perfect for the show and brings everything all together, and could not have been a better ending than what it was. The last character to talk about of the main cast is Patrick. And I understand Patrick even less than Uncle Jim, because he's a new character, so we don't know any of his backstory. All we know is that he's a local, neighborhood kid who's in love with Miranda. And I have no idea why. Why is he in love with Miranda when the rest of the world isn't? Except for Uncle Jim and Bethany. But they created Miranda. They're responsible for it, so of course they love her. They have to be accepting of what she is. But Patrick is totally taken in by her. I don't know her personality is. I don't know. Maybe he's supposed to represent, in a small way, Mirfandas, because Mirfandas love Miranda, unconditionally. But if that's the case, if he's a representation of the YouTube audience, why is he so mistreated? That doesn't make sense. I don't think that's the case. He's just in love with her, even though she constantly mistreats him like she does everybody, and doesn't think about his feelings, and his unconditional love is supposed to be endearing, but I don't find it endearing at all. Towards the end of the show, I'm liking him less and less, and I'm finding him not to be pitiable, but just pitiful and pathetic. And I can't sympathize with him because he doesn't make any sense as a character. The whole show is about how ridiculous and absurd and unlikable Miranda Sings is, but there's this pivotal character who's just in love with her, and there's no backstory to explain it. She doesn't give you reason as an audience to understand his motivation and his feelings. He's just in love with her. In a creepy way, too, collecting popsicle sticks. That's not cute either. I guess he's supposed to be a little boy who doesn't know any better. Well, that's not cute. I'm not sure how old he is. No one will ever know how old Miranda is. But even if he's 18, weird. And he's portrayed perfectly by the actor, his mannerisms and everything. But he's just such a meek and fragile character, and so unselfish, in a bad way, that it makes him unrelatable and kind of irritating. This is a spoiler, but at the end when he's waiting for Miranda to come to the date, you're supposed to be heartbroken, but I wasn't heartbroken at all. It's what do you expect from this girl? You know? She hasn't ever given you any reason to believe what you're hoping for is going to come true. Like, you're delusional in very much the same way she is. She's delusional about how talented and famous she is, and you're delusional about how great she is to you and your chances with her. So I never felt any good feelings towards Patrick throughout the show, which is obviously clearly not a popular opinion, because there's already the fans love every character, and they're shipping Miranda and Patrick, and his character just doesn't make sense to me without maybe some backstory or justification for his love for Miranda, because Miranda's not lovable. She's kind of like a clown. Nobody loves clowns. Even if you like clowns, you don't love them. They're just there to entertain you. But he's just obsessed with her and will do anything just to be near her, and thinks everything she does is perfect. And it doesn't fit in with the rest of the show. His character just is an anomaly to me. And it's really bothering me the more I watch the show, because it doesn't make any sense, and I can't find any explanation for it. It's such a different show, and the humor is weird, and it's not even childish humor. Like in the scene when Miranda comes up with her name, and Uncle Jim says the classic way of coming up with your name is the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on. Like, that's a porn name generator. And that's the joke, I think. I don't know if other people thought of that as a joke, but that's the joke. Using a porn name generator to come up with her performance name. That's what I've always heard. That's how you figure out your porn star name. And that's the joke, really. The joke isn't just that she comes up with 42nd Street Scabs or whatever it is. It's not really a joke. The base of the joke is this adult thing. And, the play with Annie is, creepy. And that's the humor. It's, such a good show, especially the end. The end was the perfect way to, bring it all back to reality and make you feel for all the characters. And it also explains Miranda's, the whole series long, the whole show, the whole season, she's having small interactions with reality, but she's always being sheltered from it and protected from it. Emily tries to give her doses of reality or to protect her from committing these disasters. Then at the end, it finally falls apart for her, and there's nobody there to protect her, and she sees the real world. And if Miranda never saw the real world, she wouldn't grow as a character, and you couldn't grow with her, and it wouldn't work. So I think the ending could not have been better, and it's a really brave thing to do for the writers and everyone involved. But my only complaints really are Uncle Jim and Patrick are not full characters.